Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Intelligent Diversion. I just wanted to take a look at some of the things that are going on in the comic book world. Just recently, DC finished up the FLASHPOINT series, and I think it's a really cool idea or concept that they're coming up with. And I want to take a quick look at it and just kind of see what's going on FLASHPOINT and how it affects the DC universe. So as we all know, comic books have been a powerful representation of American culture and value for generations. Today, Marvel and DC Comics stand as the top publishers in the funny book business, generating hundreds of millions of dollars in merchandising, film, and weekly book release. DC Comics has sometimes stood in stark contrast to the kinds of characters and stories Marvel has developed over the years, creating more of a fantasy-based world in order to support its legendary characters. But times have changed, and it seems with the development and release of the new FLASHPOINT series, DC Comics has now thrown out the old rulebook and are picking up the best and brightest characters and storylines in order to rebuild the DC universe. Without giving too much of the story away, the Flash goes back in time to correct an injustice that wrecked his life years ago. But as with any need to rewrite history, changing the past has far-reaching effects on the future. Aquaman and Wonder Woman have basically torn the world apart and nearly killed off half the population. Superman has been reduced to a lab rat, devoid of really any kindness or love that was taught to him by his earthbound parents. And Batman is actually Bruce Wayne's father, who's the survivor of a tragic incident which killed his son, Bruce, and basically turned his wife into a psychopath. As a result, he's a merciless vigilante who's really taken the Batman mantle and made it a true sign of fear. But all is not lost. The core of these characters still shines through. Superman is still willing to fight injustice regardless of all the tragedy and torture he's experienced by his government captors. Batman, now Thomas Wayne, is willing to risk everything, including the deletion of his own reality for a chance to save his son Bruce. And Wonder Woman, with all of her flaws and quick temper, tries to set things right once she's aware of the truth behind the conspiracy surrounding her mother's death. Overall, initially, I was a bit apprehensive about all the changes occurring in the Flashpoint universe. I mean, the idea that these iconic characters could become almost direct opposites of themselves was an interesting pill to swallow. But seeing how a world could be shaped by rage, fear, and hope made the Flashpoint universe much more human and approachable. As the DC universe reboots itself for the 21st century, Flashpoint has served to give fans a strong dose of what could come. While I believe most of the events in Flashpoint will be more of a one-shot deal, the idea that anything can happen in the DCU gets me excited for a new and fresher universe. I'm interested in seeing how the Wildstorm universe will finally be woven into the fabric of DC. There's never been an easy way to introduce these characters into the universe, and they have a really rich backstory and history that marked a transitional period in the comic book industry. This rebooting of the DC universe makes it a much smoother transition for the Wildstorm universe to become a major player in the current DC world. Overall, I enjoyed reading Flashpoint, and I think that its place in comic history will serve as a powerful lead-in to what we'll be seeing in the future. I'd give Flashpoint an 8 out of 10. I would definitely recommend it to new and old comic book fans. And I know that, change sucks and it's sometimes hard to digest, especially in the comic book world. But I think in order for DC to survive, they really had to change. They really had to change the traditional way of developing characters and storylines. I really felt like Superman and Batman have really gone as far as they can go. I mean, they've had kids, they've been married, they've done it all. I mean, in order for the stories to still be fresh, in order for these characters to stay relevant, they had to do this. They had to rebuild the universe. So don't take Flashpoint too hard and don't judge it too quickly. Read it, look it over, look at some of the storylines in the DC world, in DC Comics that came before Flashpoint, and I think you'll probably agree that this really is an opportunity now for the universe to start over, be fresh, and still be relevant. So enjoy, and thanks. This is Intelligent Diversion's quick review of Flashpoint for DC Comics. So go out, buy it, get it, support your local comic book stores, and I'll see you guys soon. Later.